Hey there, Sayreville. It's Gabe's dad, Anthony, running for Sayreville Board of Education on November 2nd. I wanted to reach out as we enter a new school year together to talk to you about some of the ways in which I believe we can all work together to make the educational experience for our children the very best it can be. Now, whether your child is attending Arlith, Wilson, Eisenhower, Truman, Slover, Project Before, whether they're in Samsel Upper Elementary, our middle school, or our high school, your goal every day as parents is the same as ours. We want our children to have access to an education system that values and supports their learning paths. We want to remove as many obstacles as possible for them and give our sons and daughters their very best chance to succeed in the next chapter of their own stories. We need to strive to be one Sayreville. But how do we do that? Well, I believe there are 4 crucial pillars that we must support here in order to give our children the foundation they need to move forward. I'm calling it my CARE plan: collaboration, appreciation, representation, and education. Let me explain. We'll start with collaboration. I believe a community works best when it works together, listens to opposing viewpoints, and works to find common ground in the best interests of our students. Next up is something truly important to me, and that's appreciation. I believe in recruiting, retaining, and supporting the best and most diverse cohort of teachers, administrators, and staff in our schools. I believe in maintaining a regular line of communication with those folks to whom we entrust our children to be sure that their needs are being met. I don't put my son on a bus each morning to be babysat. I send him to school to learn, and I need his teachers and staff to have all the resources they need to do their jobs and do them well. Appreciating our teachers shouldn't be political. It should be common sense. That brings us to the third point of my CARE plan, and that's representation. I represent different groups in our community and can be a conduit to elevate the voices of our community to the educational and administrative decision-making table to ensure that there is equitable representation. When our children can see themselves in positions of power, represented, it saves lives. It helps give our kids and their parents who might feel peripheral, unseen, or unheard a real place at the table. I would also invite active participation from members of our community, reaching out in a real dialogue, not just hoping that new faces suddenly start coming to our board meetings. And finally, we talk about education itself. I believe in the power of a strong, intelligently funded public education system to carry our children forward into their lives with a grounded foundation of skills and knowledge to give them the best chance to succeed. Sayreville has a long history of curriculum that supports diversity and inclusion, and I support that continuation and hope to be part of the story of our incredible public education system, helping in every way I can. To that end, there are a few opportunities I think our Board of Education has to more closely bond with our community, to be more available and accessible, to show more gratitude, and to invite more participation in our system. If entrusted with your vote to join the Sayreville Board of Education, here are 2 programs I would like to initiate. The first is a program I'm calling You're the Bomber. I believe that gratitude shouldn't be confined to 1 board meeting a year. Our Teacher of the Year program is fantastic, but I believe that a Board of Education has a unique opportunity to help tell the stories of both our staff and our students, to help our community understand at large some of the amazing personalities that Sayreville is cultivating. My You're the Bomber program allows students to nominate one another for a board-approved commendation each month, whether the nomination is for success in academics, athletics, or in our community as a whole. I'm hopeful that this will invite new families to attend our board meetings as we celebrate their children, our children, together. Additionally, our educational community includes teachers, but also so many more folks. It's important to recognize our custodians, our transportation team, our food services team, and so many others. You're the Bomber allows our educational community to nominate one another for that same board commendation, to make the invisible visible. As a Board of Education, members can't be everywhere, but we should invite shared storytelling and ultimately shared celebration. Sayreville is full of stories, if we're committed to telling them. The second program I'd like to initiate is called Our Hour. I know it's difficult for members of our community to get to every Board of Education meeting, and while they are streamed live online, for many parents and members of our educational community, it doesn't feel like enough. Our Hour is a program that seeks to increase access to our Board of Education and hopes to afford folks an opportunity to have a bit more of a conversation with the board. Once a month, I would like to host a 60-minute Facebook Live office hour dedicated exclusively to listening to issues faced by our community. The role of a Board of Education member is limited in its scope, in its power, and its ability to fix every issue facing our community. There is no magic wand given to a new Board of Education member to fix everything. But that doesn't mean that we can't be available to listen and to elevate appropriate concerns to the proper channels. Listening matters, and being a new voice in our community myself, I know how important listening is. If elected to the Board of Education, my commitment is that I will not stop listening. We may disagree, but I will always listen. So then, Sayreville, you have a choice in the direction of our community, in who we are, in what it means to be a bomber. If you believe, as I do, that we can do a little better for our kids in their community, that we can leave Sayreville a little more open-hearted than we found it, then I invite you to consider coming with me as we move forward. Every great community is built slowly, moment by moment, and yes, brick by brick. On November 2nd, I am asking for your vote, for your trust, and for your hand as we continue building this town together, the place our children will remember. Until we see each other at Centennial Day in a few short weeks, I'm Anthony, Gabe's dad, wishing all of my fellow bombers and their families a happy and healthy start to this new school year.